MIT just published data that should change how you run your business. Most of your competitors have not seen it yet. Here is the number. 1. $2 trillion. That is the total value of work that AI systems, not future AI, not theoretical AI, tools you can download and use today, can technically perform in the United States economy right now. Finance, logistics, human resources, administrative services, client communications, bookkeeping, proposal writing, customer follow-up, scheduling, data entry, market research, contract review. Sound familiar? Because that is not Fortune 500 work. That is the exact stack of tasks eating 30 to 50% of your week as a small business owner. The invisible overhead that never shows up on your revenue report, but costs you more than any single expense line on your books. The work that keeps you busy without making you wealthy. So let me walk you through what MIT actually found, and more importantly, what it means for the way you are running your business right now. Here is what MIT actually built. They did not guess. They did not survey executives over a Zoom call. They did not extrapolate from industry reports put together by consultants with an agenda. They created something called the Iceberg Index, a full simulation of 151 million American workers, each one individually tagged with specific skills, specific tasks, and a specific occupation. Built in collaboration with Oak Ridge National Laboratory and run on the Frontier supercomputer, one of the most powerful computers ever built. They mapped 32,000 distinct skills across 923 job categories in 3,000 counties across the United States. Then they cross-referenced every single one of those against more than 13,000 AI tools that are available right now. The result is the most detailed picture of AI's real impact on the labor market that has ever been published. And what they found is an iceberg. The tip, the part above the water, the disruption that has been dominating every business headline for the past 3 years, represents about 2.2% of total United States wage value, roughly $211 billion. That is information technology. That is software development. That is the tech disruption everyone already knew about. Everyone is talking about that part. But below the surface? 7% of the entire United States labor market is already exposed to AI displacement at current capability levels. That is $1.2 trillion in work that AI can perform today, right now, at a cost that is competitive with, or in many cases cheaper than, paying a human being to do it. And the bulk of that $1.2 trillion is not sitting in Silicon Valley. It is in the operational backbone of small and medium-sized businesses. Finance, administration, professional services, logistics, client management, the exact categories that small business owners and freelancers either pay through the nose to outsource or grind through themselves at the expense of everything else they should be focused on. Stop for a second and think about what that number actually means for a business like yours. You are competing with larger companies that have entire departments, project managers who do nothing but manage timelines, sales coordinators who do nothing but follow up with leads, marketing teams producing content every week without the owner lifting a finger, customer service reps, HR coordinators, admin staff handling onboarding, compliance, scheduling, and documentation. You do not have those. But here is the structural shift that the MIT data is actually describing. Not job loss, not mass unemployment, but capability redistribution. A solopreneur or small business owner with the right AI stack can now operate with the functional output of a team of 5 to 10 people. Not by working more hours, not by cutting corners, by automating the repeatable layer of their business, the layer that consumes the most time and produces the least differentiation. And the businesses that figure this out first are about to create a competitive gap that will be very difficult to close. This is not hypothetical. Agency owners cutting their proposal turnaround from 3 days to 4 hours. Not by writing faster, by building an AI-powered intake and proposal system that pulls client information, generates a first draft, and formats it for delivery with minimal human review. The agency owner spends 20 minutes reviewing and personalizing. The client receives a polished, detailed proposal in hours instead of days. The agency wins more work because it responds faster than every competitor still doing this manually. Freelancers automating their entire client onboarding sequence. Intake forms, welcome emails, contract delivery, project kickoff briefings, initial check-in messages, without touching any of it manually after the initial setup. The client experience is seamless and professional. The freelancer is working on the actual deliverable instead of managing the administrative process surrounding it. E-commerce businesses running customer service, inventory alerts, and post-purchase follow-up campaigns simultaneously with zero additional headcount. AI handling Tier 1 inquiries, order status, return requests, product questions, while the business owner focuses on supplier relationships, product development, and growth strategy, instead of answering the same 5 questions 40 times a week. That is $1.2 trillion in exposed labor. And the small businesses that move first get to pocket the difference. But here is the other side of the iceberg. The part that nobody in the AI conversation wants to say clearly. The businesses not adopting AI right now are not standing still. They are falling behind. Actively, in real time. Because the moment your direct competitor automates their client delivery workflow and you have not, they can take on twice the volume at the same operational cost. They can undercut your pricing and still maintain their margin. They can respond to a new lead in minutes while you are still clearing your inbox. They can deliver a proposal before you have finished your first draft. They can win the client before you have even opened your laptop. The risk is not AI replacing your employees. The risk is your competitor using AI to replace your entire business. And here is where the MIT data gets genuinely counterintuitive. Because a separate line of research from MIT Sloan tracked real companies using AI over 13 years, from 2010 through 2023. Not projections, not economic models. Actual firms with actual outcomes in the real world. What did they find? The companies adopting AI did not simply shrink their workforce and pocket the savings. They grew faster. They became more productive. More productive companies create more demand. And more demand means more revenue, more clients, and more capacity. The firms using AI well did not just cut costs. They expanded. The companies not adopting AI, they grew more slowly. They lost market share to competitors who moved faster and operated leaner. They reduced their own headcount, not because they automated anything, but because they got outcompeted by the firms that did. Let that land. The displacement risk in this economy is not coming from automation. It is coming from irrelevance. And irrelevance for a small business moves faster than most owners expect. So what does this look like in practice? Let me break this down into the 3 operational categories where the $1.2 trillion opportunity is most accessible for a small business owner or freelancer right now. Category 1. Repetitive communication. Client emails, follow-up sequences, proposal drafts, invoice reminders, onboarding messages, progress updates, re-engagement campaigns. Every piece of written communication in your business that follows a repeatable structure is a candidate for AI automation. The tools available today produce output that the vast majority of clients cannot distinguish from something written personally and carefully. You build the system once. It runs indefinitely. You stop being the bottleneck in your own business. Category 2. Research and analysis. Competitor monitoring, market research, contract review, financial performance summaries, keyword research, lead qualification, meeting preparation, industry trend tracking. Tasks that used to require focused blocks of time, 2, 3, 4 hours of deep concentrated work, can be condensed into minutes with the right prompts and the right workflows. This is not about replacing your judgment. It is about eliminating the information gathering phase that precedes your judgment, so you arrive at decisions faster and with better data than any competitor doing it manually. Category 3. Content and marketing. Social media posts, email newsletters, SEO articles, video scripts, ad copy, case studies, pitch decks, service one-pagers. A small business owner who previously needed an agency retainer or a freelancer on contract for this category now has a content production engine embedded directly in their own workflow. The strategic direction is still yours. The creative decisions are still yours. The execution layer, the production, the formatting, the distribution is automated. These 3 categories represent the majority of the $1.2 trillion in exposed labor that the MIT study identified. And for a small business, they represent the majority of the unbillable hours that are quietly capping your growth every single week. The window is open. Most of your competitors are still in the evaluation phase, watching demos, debating whether it is worth the time, waiting for the technology to mature further. That debate has an expiration date. The businesses that build these systems now lock in an operational advantage that compounds every quarter. You cannot outwork a competitor who has automated the work, but you can outbuild one that has not started yet. This channel exists for that window. Every week, we break down the specific AI tools, automation workflows, and business systems that small business owners and freelancers are using right now to cut costs, increase their output, and grow faster, without hiring, without expensive agencies, without complicated technical sets.